3.5 months of marriage before one phone call changed her entire life. She went from being a newlywed, living what felt like her dream life, to becoming a widow overnight. But this isn't just a story about loss. It's a story about love, about grief, and about a mother who didn't give birth to her, yet chose to save her when she had already given up. Welcome to True Love Diaries. Today's story was sent by Farhaana from Bangladesh. This is her story, shared exactly the way she told it to us. My name is Farhaana. I had just completed my MBA and was working at a private finance company in 2021 when everything began. It started in a Facebook group. That's where I first met the man I would later fall in love with. At first, it was just small talk in the comments and inbox. He lived in Chittagong and I was in Dhaka. Casual messages, nothing serious. Then one day he said, "I don't really like chatting. If you're comfortable, can I call you?" I said okay. We talked on the phone for a long time. He was funny, confident, easy to talk to. The conversation flowed naturally, and then, out of nowhere, he asked me something unexpected. He said, "My family is looking for a bride for me. What about you? Are you planning to get married anytime soon?" It wasn't a proposal. Not exactly. It felt like a normal adult conversation. I told him honestly that yes, I was thinking about getting married within the year. And then he said something that shocked me. "If you want, I can marry you?" Directly, clearly, no hesitation. We had started talking that very day. I remember laughing. I barely knew this man. I didn't know his past, his habits, his family, nothing. And he was talking about marriage. We ended the call. The next day, things escalated even more. He suddenly asked, "Is your mom near you?" I said yes. He said, "I want my mother to speak with your mother. I'll video call on Messenger. You don't need to come on camera." I was stunned. We had spoken for the first time just yesterday, and on the second day, he wanted our mothers to talk? But I have always been very open with my mom, so I told her, "Mom, there's an auntie who wants to talk to you." She agreed. When he video called, I didn't join. I handed the phone directly to my mother. And the first thing he said to her was, "Auntie, my name is Sion. This is how I look. And I want to marry your daughter with this face." My mom burst out laughing. No one introduces themselves like that. She asked him, "Who are you?" "My daughter didn't tell me about you." And he replied honestly, "She didn't tell you because we only spoke for the first time yesterday." Then his mother joined the conversation. The two mothers spoke for a while. And in our culture, marriage isn't just between two people. It's between two families. They decided, let the children talk first. If things seem right, then the families will move forward. There was one more thing. His father had passed away in 2019. He was the only son in his family, with one sister. But soon, problems began. Relatives from his side started raising concerns. My parents had been separated since I was very young. That became a red flag to them. He lived in Chittagong. I lived in Dhaka. They said long distance would never work. I was educated. I had a job. They questioned why an independent woman would move to Chittagong after marriage. They feared I might bring their son to Dhaka instead. People talk. And sometimes they poison situations. At the same time, he and I had agreed on something very clearly. We wouldn't drag this into a long, romantic relationship. If we moved forward, it would be for marriage. So someone from his extended family was assigned to investigate me. And that's when things turned ugly. Because my father had passed away, my legal guardians were my two brothers. I also have an older sister. My eldest brother raised us almost like a father. He runs a transportation business. Our family owns buses. But somehow, the information that reached them was completely twisted. They were told my brother was just a bus assistant. They were told I had been in relationships with many men. They were told my character was bad. They questioned why he would marry a girl like that. They told him they could find someone more beautiful, from a better background, someone with a cleaner family history. His family didn't want this marriage. But at that time, he had already grown attached to me. Maybe to my words, maybe to the idea of me. He didn't say yes to them, but he didn't directly say no either. He wanted to meet me in person, talk to me, judge for himself, then make a decision. And then something even more disturbing started happening. Random phone numbers began calling my mother. Some claimed that he was already married, that he even had a child. Others warned us to back off. They told my mother that if I didn't step away from his life, things would get very bad. They insulted our family background. They implied we were lower class. They tried to intimidate us into ending it. It was literal harassment. When I told him about these calls, he didn't believe it at first. He said he had no idea who was doing this. He was certain it wasn't anyone close to him, but the calls kept coming. Finally, he said he would come to Dhaka. At that time, my office was near one of the largest shopping malls in the city. He came quietly. When I first saw him standing there, he looked calm, simple, almost shy. He just stood there looking at me. We exchanged a few normal words. How are you? How's work? What's going on? Then we went to a restaurant and sat down to talk properly. And that was the first time we faced each other, not as voices on a phone, not as texts on a screen, but as two real people deciding whether to risk everything. After that meeting, he looked at me and said, "Let me drop you home." By then, I already felt something. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about looks. I had always wanted a man with presence, with character. I grew up in a broken family. I didn't have a father figure growing up. So somewhere deep inside, I always hoped that one day a man would come into my life who wouldn't just be a husband, but a guardian. Someone steady, someone responsible, someone who could fill that emotional absence. When he dropped me off in my area before leaving, he said something that stayed with me. "Farhaana, I've been confused for a long time. I didn't know what to do about you. But today my mind is completely clear. If I ever get married, it will be you. No one else. It has to be you." I went home. The very next day, without warning, he called me and said, "I'm downstairs at your building." I was shocked. He said, "I want to talk to your brother." He hadn't even told me beforehand. I told my brother, and my brother said, "All right, let him come up." He came upstairs. The moment he entered, he grabbed my brother's hands with both of his and said, "Brother, I'm about to say something bold. Please, don't take it the wrong way. I want to marry your younger sister." He spoke like a simple man. No attitude, no manipulation, straightforward, honest. My brother asked him, "You have a family, don't you?" He said, "Yes." My brother said, "Then bring your family. We'll talk properly." He replied, "Yes, brother, I'll bring them. Just give me 2 or 3 months, but please don't marry her off to anyone else." He was scared. Too much had already happened. My brother told him to go back and return with his family. When he went back to Chittagong, he confronted his mother. He said, "The information you gave me was false. I went to her home. I saw her office. None of it was true. A bus helper doesn't live like that, and a bus helper can't afford to send 2 sisters to private universities. I've seen her family. They're educated, respectful people, and she's a good woman. I will marry her." But relatives kept interfering. They told him, from the beginning, there are so many obstacles. Don't bring this girl. Don't marry her. She won't be good for you. My future mother-in-law became firm. She said, "I will not agree to this marriage. Why do you want to do this? I will not allow it." It became a constant clash between a mother and a son. One wanted the marriage, the other refused completely. He suffered a lot during this time. Once, he didn't eat for 3 or 4 days straight. He collapsed. Another time, he went to his mother and cried in front of her, "Mom, please, at least go and see her once. Just once. If you don't like her, you can say no." Finally, his mother agreed. She came to see me with his sister, his brother-in-law, and his uncle. They said everything. Every negative thing they had heard about him, about me, everything was laid out. They even warned me. They said, he stays up late playing games. If you marry him, you're doing it at your own risk. We will not support you. If you have problems in the future, don't expect us to stand by you. They left after saying all that. Even my brother became worried. He said, if family members come and speak like this, how can we give our sister into such a family? That night, he called me, crying, Farhaana, please give me one chance. Please don't leave me. He asked to meet me again. We met in front of the same place, near the mall. The moment I arrived in front of everyone, he dropped to his knees. He held my hand and cried, please don't leave me. I'll change everything, every bad habit, I promise. I won't stay up all night gaming. I won't live carelessly, I swear. He asked to speak to my brother. I agreed. He called my brother and my brother said, come to the house, I need to talk to you. We went together. Again, he begged, brother, please give me time. No matter what, I will convince my family. My brother said, we can see your family isn't agreeing. You're forcing them. They don't want this marriage. He kept asking for time. My brother finally said, you are a good man. That's the only reason we keep giving you chances. But this isn't how a marriage is done. He left. Later, his brother-in-law directly informed us his mother was not willing to give the marriage. When he returned home, he argued with his mother, and without telling anyone, he left the house. He asked, have you heard from Cian? I said no. He told me Cian had argued with his family, packed a bag, and left the house. No one knew where he had gone. He wasn't answering anyone's calls. Please call him, his friend said. My heart dropped. I immediately called him. I thought he wouldn't answer since he wasn't picking up for anyone else. But the moment I called, he answered. He was crying. Farhaana, please don't leave me. Don't leave me. I can't live without you. That was the only thing he kept repeating. I told him calmly, okay, I'll stay. I'll stand beside you till the end. But if this doesn't work out, you can never blame me. You can't hold anything against me. I'll try, but I can't control everything. He went back home. He kept trying to convince his mother. He begged. He requested. He told her, this is the last thing I'll ever ask from you. I don't want anything else in life. I just want to marry her. Eventually, his mother realized she couldn't change his mind. Even some relatives started saying, if this is written for them, then let it happen. But this didn't happen overnight. Months passed, 6, 7 months of constant tension. He was fighting alone most of the time. To be honest, I wasn't as emotionally attached as he was at that point. I had already prepared myself mentally. If it happens, it happens. If not, I'll accept it. Finally, on October 8th, 2021, his family came to see me again for the second time. We talked, and they fixed the wedding for the following Friday. Even then, I was scared. This was a family that had disliked me from the very beginning. I kept wondering, what kind of bond would I have with them? I used to joke with my colleagues that maybe my life would turn into one of those dramatic mother-in-law versus daughter-in-law movie stories. But when we went shopping for the wedding, something unexpected happened. The same woman who once didn't want me bought everything according to my choice. My cherise, my jewelry, everything. She didn't force her taste on me. She let me choose. That surprised me. Our wedding took place on October 15th, 2021, at my family home in a small, intimate ceremony. The original plan was that I would officially move to his house 2 months later. But after the wedding, something changed inside me. It felt like magic. Suddenly, it felt like he was the only person in the world. His mother even told me that day, whatever happened before today, let's forget it. From today onward, we start fresh. Let our relationship be beautiful. Then suddenly, a new decision was made. The day after the wedding, They would take me to Chittagong for a few days. I went. I stayed at my in-laws' house. Spent 2 or 3 days there. It felt normal. Not extraordinary. Not terrible. Just normal. Then I returned to Dhaka. And that's when the long-distance marriage truly began. He worked there. I worked here. We had fought so many battles to get married, and now another battle began. Distance. I missed him constantly. I couldn't focus on work. I didn't feel like eating. All I could think was, when will he come? When will I see him again? Somehow, I became more emotionally attached after marriage. He used to come to Dhaka every 2 weeks, sometimes every 3 weeks, for just 1 day. His job didn't give him many holidays. Even he would say, "Farhaana, I don't feel good staying away from you." Originally, I was supposed to move to his house in January or February of 2022, but he started acting impulsively. Sometimes he would take the risk of traveling just for a few hours, just to see me for a short time and return. It was his madness, in a way, that gave me the courage to fully commit to this marriage. Eventually, I told my mother, there's no need to wait until January or February. Try to arrange my move in December. My mother laughed and said, "This is the first time I've seen a girl so eager to go to her in-laws' house." Our family started preparing the formal ceremony for my official move. Finally, it was decided, December 24th. Still, I had fear. Would I be able to adjust? Would they truly accept me? There's one thing I forgot to mention. On our wedding night, Shan told me something very serious. "Farhaana, I know you've suffered because of my mother. You've heard many things, but I'm asking you, please forget all of it. In my life, there are 2 important women, my mother and you. I cannot live peacefully without either of you. If you two don't have a good relationship, I won't be able to survive. I won't want to live." That scared me. I promised him that night, no matter what, I will win your mother's heart. And he told me, if you can win her heart once, you'll see she loves you even more than she loves me. After I was brought into that family, I had only one focus in my mind. How do I truly win my mother-in-law's heart? I stayed close to her all the time, talked with her, helped her with little things. After the wedding, I realized she was very different from what I had imagined. She wasn't distant at all. She loved me deeply, almost like her own daughter. A few days after our marriage, we went on a trip to Rangamati. The hills, the lake, the peaceful atmosphere, everything felt magical. My life at that time felt like something straight out of a dream. My husband would take me out almost every day. He never came home empty-handed. Sometimes chocolates, sometimes small gifts, sometimes my favorite snacks. Every single day, he showed me love in little ways. Then suddenly, I became severely ill. My fever would stay between 102 to 103 degrees. I was vomiting all day. I was so weak that I couldn't even stand properly. My mother-in-law told me not to go to the bathroom repeatedly. She brought me a bowl and said, "Just use this. I'll clean it." At that moment, I didn't see a mother-in-law. I saw a mother. She fed me with her own hands. She and my husband rushed me to 2 or 3 different hospitals. One day, my husband held my hand and said softly, "Farhaana, if you die, I don't think I will ever marry again. I won't survive. But if I die first, you have to remarry and build a beautiful life." He would often say, "I want to die before you. I can't bear losing you." He even prayed that God would take him before me. Slowly, I started recovering. One day, he held my hand, kissed my forehead, and gently said, "Lock the gate. I'm heading out." After he left, I was lying down, but from late afternoon, I felt a strange restlessness inside me. My heart felt uneasy for no clear reason. The word grave kept echoing in my mind. I didn't know why. I started watching a drama. A heavy feeling sat in my chest. Then the phone call came. Jan had been in an accident. He was being taken to the hospital. The moment my mother-in-law heard this, she screamed and collapsed to the floor. I kept saying, "No, Mom, nothing has happened to him. Let's go." Just moments earlier, I couldn't even stand properly because of my weakness. But now, in the cold weather, I was running barefoot. My mother-in-law was running behind me. As I ran, I kept praying. God, you've given me many hardships in life, and I never complained. But please, don't make me a widow so soon. Please, keep him alive. When we reached the hospital then, he was lying in the emergency room. There were no visible major injuries, no blood. His mouth was slightly open. His colleagues were there. They kept telling me, "Sister-in-law, nothing happened. The doctors are checking him." I kept asking, "Is he alive?" They replied, "Yes, he's alive. Don't worry." I believed them. I truly believed he was alive. But suddenly, everything went black. I fainted. When I regained consciousness, I was in a cabin with an oxygen tube in my nose. A doctor was examining me. Then I overheard a nurse whispering. He was already gone when they brought him. He was dead on the spot. The moment those words reached my ears, it felt like my entire body was on fire. I couldn't bear it. In the freezing cold, I went to the washroom and poured cold water over myself. It felt like I was burning from inside. Then I ran toward the emergency room again. I felt like if I just saw him, he would breathe again. If I touched him, he would come back. But many women held me back. 20 to 25 people restrained me. They wouldn't let me see him. I kept asking, "Is he alive?" They kept saying, "Yes, he is." By then, nearly 2,000 to 3,000 people had gathered at the hospital. The entire place was crowded. He wasn't just an ordinary man, he was loved by everyone. From security guards to rickshaw drivers, everyone knew him. They had seen him grow up in that neighborhood. And standing there, in that crowd-filled hospital, I realized something. My world had changed forever. After that, they wouldn't let me see him. The emergency room doors were locked. Everyone kept telling me he was alive. And I kept asking, if he's alive, why are they keeping him here? Why aren't they transferring him to Chittagong Medical College? He won't get proper treatment here. Why aren't they moving him? By then, everyone already knew. My mother called me. My older brother took the phone from her and asked what was happening. Someone told him they've laid him down. They've covered him with a white sheet. From the other end of the phone, my brother was reciting the prayer that is said when someone dies. And I remember thinking, why is he saying that? He's not dead. They just covered him. That doesn't mean he's gone. He's still alive. I hadn't even registered in my mind yet that being covered in white meant he was no more. My mother was screaming and crying on the phone. No one could accept that just 3.5 months into my marriage, I would become a widow. Around 2 a.m., they finally brought him in the ambulance, prepared for the final farewell. They didn't even take him down properly at first. He was tall, healthy. I kept saying, "Please, bring him down gently. It's cold. He'll feel uncomfortable." Somewhere deep inside, I still felt like he could feel the cold. I went close and said, "Please look at me. Please wake up. Talk to me." But he didn't speak. That entire night passed like that. After his burial, everything inside me shut down. I stopped eating. I stopped talking. I stopped functioning. And the most heartbreaking part, my mother-in-law had just lost her son. Yet she put aside her own grief and focused on me. She kept saying, "The one who left is gone. But the one who is alive, I have to save her." Even while grieving her only son, she tried to feed me, take care of me, make me survive. But I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I had hallucinations. I would hear someone calling Farhaana, Farhaana inside the house. I would feel like he was walking toward me, smiling at me. For a whole month, I stayed awake almost every night, staring at the ceiling. I would just pray for patience. If my mother-in-law hadn't been there, I honestly don't think I would have survived. My own mother wanted to take me back to Dhaka. She said, "Come here. If you stay there, it will hurt you more." But I refused. I couldn't leave. I would sit in the room, surrounded by his shirts, his t-shirts, his belongings scattered everywhere. I would smell his clothes. I would sleep holding the things he used. I isolated myself from everyone. I didn't talk to friends. I barely spoke to anyone except my mother-in-law. I stayed there for 9 months after my husband passed away. One day, my mother-in-law gently told me, "You have to live. You can't live like this. The one who left is gone, but you are still here. You have to rebuild." Through a friend, I eventually got a job at a finance company in Banglamotor, Dhaka. After 9 months, I moved back. But even today, I say this with full conviction. A mother gives birth, so of course she loves her child. But you don't have to give birth to someone to become their mother. I learned that from my mother-in-law. The care her son used to give me today, she gives me that same care. It's been over 3.5 years. I still spend Eid there. I often spend Ramadan in Chittagong. Whenever I go back, she packs money into my hands and says, "You work, you earn, but you are my daughter. You will never say no to me." Even now, whenever I visit or whenever she comes to Dhaka, she puts money in my hand. We talk almost every single day on video call, sometimes for an hour or more. I tell her everything about my day. She tells me everything about hers. She is no longer just my mother-in-law, she is my friend. She is my second mother. And talking to her gives me mental peace. Yeah, sometimes life takes everything from you in a single moment, but sometimes, in that same darkness, it leaves behind a light in the form of a person who refuses to let you fall. If you've listened this far, hold your loved ones a little tighter today, and never underestimate the power of a mother's love, even if she didn't give birth to you. If stories like this speak to you, you can subscribe or leave a like. More real stories are coming. Thank you.